Good afternoon, everyone. And we are back here with a very interesting session, it's more pictorial than verbal, and you're going to see as we go by. My guest this afternoon is a very, very celebrated celebrity wedding photographer. He makes photographs of love, people, and people in love. You know his work most recently when the internet broke with the Ambani pictures, Aditi Rao Siddharth's wedding pictures, and very recently our Prime Minister with those majestic lions. That was very, very recent. Please meet Joseph Radek. Joseph, who's been in the wedding photography industry for over 2 decades, celebrated with celebrities, seen all over, made the most beautiful pictures, and always creating the most beautiful memories, as weddings always do. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you, Ruchika.
Joe, as we call him, been a roller coaster year, 2024, starting from February. We know what we are talking about, right up to July end. We have to start with a big wedding. So tell us a bit more about shooting those memorable moments at the Ambani wedding.
I think that, so here's a fact. I took a 6-month break after that wedding because for one very specific reason. I felt that attending any wedding after that would be a culture shock for me because the term wedding did not feel right anymore after that. It was unbelievable for me. And I think the toughest challenge thrown to me was, end of the day, the photos that the family gets should represent a bunch of happy memories. Amidst all of this stardom, all of this glitz, those tiny moments, right? And as soon as the wedding ended, I delivered a set of about 100 photos, which are not published anywhere.
A set of?
100 photos,
100 photographs,
which are not published anywhere.
Which are unpublished as yet.
The other 100 that went to Vogue, they are chalk and cheese. Trust me, they don't look the same at all. So in my mind, there were 2 weddings.
So you know what you saw is not what he shot fully. That's a secret he's revealing this evening.
Yeah, that was it. I think, see, the thing is that everybody I spoke to, I have 2 instances I can tell you. Right after Jamnagar ended, I was in Crete, Greece, speaking at a wedding photography conference. There was a bunch of folks from Romania who knew the Ambani family, like their entire family tree and everything, because this wedding was published all the way there. It's always been a childhood dream that, you know, as a photographer, you hope to make photos that will be seen by a few people. But to think that your work went global,
viral and global,
is unbelievable. I think the first time it happened was for me in 2017 when Virat and Anushka wedding happened in Tuscany in December. That was, I thought, like the biggest point of my small career. But Radhika and Anand's completely has changed my view on that.
Yeah, so from Virat-Anushka to Isha Ambani's wedding and many other functions to Katrina, Vicky, to even, I think, Siddharth and Aditi later.
Yeah.
The highlight, of course, was the Ambani wedding. We all know, Joseph, we all want to know, rather, for shooting any celebrity wedding, there are more don'ts than do's. So, come on, tell us more about that. What are the don'ts?
Okay, the first thing is, the don'ts is, I'm never touching my phone during the wedding.
For so that you don't leak a picture?
No, with any type of photography with my phone. Okay, it's always my professional camera and nothing else.
Okay, number one.
Okay. Number 2, I think the biggest, and this is an unsaid don't, right? To not get fixated by the big things. The big things are very easy to capture.
So you don't get awed.
Correct. And also the don't from my side is, you may have how many ever surprises. You may have Chris Martin perform at your Sangeet, or Beyonce appear suddenly. Not for me. It's not a surprise for me. Right?
You're not meant to be surprised. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
I am the one who should know everything about the wedding way beforehand. And finally, the big thing in my mind is to stay true to the main story at hand and not get distracted by the many, many, many interesting side stories that are going on at a wedding like that. Yeah.
Okay, now Now that we're already talking, you have to give us one side story. We're not going to let you go without that. One side story has to come out.
Oh God, I'm really bad at this. Did I not
Doesn't
just tell you,
matter.
Ruchika? I'm focused on the main story.
No, but every big story has a side story. And
You're
this
not
is the
gonna get
biggest story of the
You're
year.
not going to get anything out of me.
See, that's the big don't. Joe, from studying engineering and management and working with corporates to being a celebrated international award-winning photographer, what has the journey been like? And what prompted you to delve into photography?
Okay, so I'm from the south of India. I'm from Hyderabad. And pretty much in Hyderabad, if you're not an engineer or a doctor, you've had a failed career. So I'm an engineer. My sister's a doctor. My brother's an engineer. So we pretty much followed the things that we were supposed to do. So I gave the cat, I got through to the IIMs, having a decently successful career in corporate India. And somehow the wedding photography bug caught me when my sister got married. When I was looked out, this is way back in 2009, right? I think the most convincing argument I have put forward in the last 15 years is not to a client to hire me, but to my parents to quit my job and to take up wedding photography. It was met with utter horror in the initial moments. And then if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing this right now. They said, do it. I was 26 then. They said, if you're going to do it now and not later, right? And the next 4 years, I think, were unbelievable. And the next 15 years happened entirely by chance, right? Serendipity is what I like to call it. 10 days after I quit my job, I was on CNN, IBN, speaking on national TV about shifting careers. And there was a TV reporter asking me to zoom my prime lens. It doesn't zoom, by the way. And it was completely bizarre. And I can give you so many little moments like this, which ended up with me shooting these celebrities. Because as I said, I come from a completely different background. I'm not from the industry. And to think that even the Ambani wedding, we were there primarily because we've shot some 6 other weddings in the family over the span of time from 2012 to 2020. So they knew us personally. It's bizarre.
I can imagine.
I can't imagine that I'm sitting here and telling you this, just so you know.
We know how to get it out of you. That's why. Joe, your first celebrity wedding was Allu Arjun and Sneha?
Correct.
How did that happen? How did it fall in your lap?
Okay, you're gonna laugh at this. I was speaking at a small creative conference called Pecha Kucha. It's a 7-minute talk where you give like a TED talk kind of a thing. The front row was a bunch of Telugu film industry folks. And one of them comes up to me and then they say, in 2 months, Bunny is getting married, you have to shoot this wedding. It's like, who is Bunny? It's like, that's a funny name. And it turns out it was Allu Arjun. I didn't know his nickname. I knew him as Allu Arjun, the star. I'll tell you, Ruchika, the fact that I started in the Telugu film industry, I think is the biggest boon. Because they're some of the nicest people with zero celebrityness. And okay, having said that, I have to tell you, 15 years now roughly, I have not met a celebrity till now.
Oh, you haven't?
The reason is that I think because we are tasked to shoot personal events and not as commercial campaigns, I get to see the human side of them. I never get to work with them. And luckily for me, I have not worked with them afterwards. So I don't know how they are as, in their profession. I know how they are as a person. That's it.
How they are as a couple on those 4 days.
Exactly. Yeah.
What we see on this side of the lens is picture perfect shots on Instagram being flashed and everybody and everything looking so beautiful and perfect. Are you told to shoot pictures? I mean, for Instagram, are they meant to be so perfect, or earlier pictures were meant to be special moments which are going to be cherished for the rest of your life, plastered in your albums, and the albums which we all have and kept from our wedding. But now the whole game has changed. It's more about social media splashes. So tell me, how does your lens capture or differentiate between the two?
So here's the thing. Even the most beautiful weddings are messy, right? And they're imperfect in dramatic ways. The magic of what you see on the screens right now is just curation. You are seeing what is 0.01% of the wedding. That's it. I think my job, especially at the weddings that you see on the screens, these images are selected within the first half an hour of the wedding just wrapping up. the Varmala finishes, 35 minutes later, these images are shared on social media. I'm cherry picking the moments which look perfect, which leads to this perception that everybody is laughing at all of their weddings.
So you're meant to do the ha pictures out.
I'm cherry picking those, right? But in reality, there's equal amounts of sweat and annoyance and frustration and everything else. These are real weddings, and these are all. Luckily for me, these are all real moments, because when the wedding is going on, I do not interact with my subjects.
What makes you celebrities pick? Why do they come to you? What is that one difference that you bring to the pictures over and above the others?
I think primarily they have seen the photos that are not on Instagram. Okay? Through friends and family, they have seen those. And this, what I'm saying right now is true for pretty much everyone. I can link them back to one other client that they were close to, right? Because if you pick me based off of Instagram, you're essentially selecting a picture-perfect photographer. I'm far from that. I'm the guy who gives you, as you said, memories to cherish for years, for your own self. The good thing is some of these clients actually share these really nice photos 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, 9 years later, and I get to share them again. But that's pretty much the reason. The fact that they're hiring somebody who's not cynical about weddings yet. Yeah.
So you have yet to come across one of those.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, yeah.
Whatever we hear to kind of pick the pictures right after any one occasion that you do, it must be requiring a team of many people. What is the big team that you carry with you when you go? What is the team size like?
So I'm just coming here from a wedding in Hyderabad where there were about 5,000 guests.
5,000 guests, please note.
It's a very intimate affair.
Intimate affair, yes.
The bride will pointedly tell me she cut the guest list down from 10,000, right? We photographed a wedding in Haridwar about 5 years ago with 220,000 people.
220,000?
Yeah.
220,000 people. Probably the ghats were all overcrowded.
I find it quite amusing when I'm questioned about the Ambani wedding, right? When I'm like, this is table stakes, because there was 220,000 guests from 39 countries, if I'm not wrong. I have a photograph of the Barat. It's a drone shot with the entire city of Haridwar literally covered with people just walking down the street. The bride side had 500 guests for what it's worth.
So we have to know who the bride and groom is. Now
the bride is the princess of Rewa.
Princess of?
Rewa, Madhya Pradesh, right? And the groom is Suesh Rawat. He's the son of Satpal Rawat ji, Maharaj Satpal Rawat ji from Uttarakhand.
And he brought those 200,000 people with him. Okay.
Correct. So yeah, we've been really blessed to photograph things like this. My team size for that wedding would be the largest. It would be 50. For yesterday's wedding, it would be as small as just 8 people. That's it.
Great.
Yeah.
We are seeing Siddharth Kiara. We saw Katrina, Vicky. Correct. Which is your favorite celeb wedding?
I'm going to get dragged through for this.
You have to tell us some of the fun moments or one of the sneaky moments that you may have got into.
I wouldn't say sneaky, but in 2017 was the year I got married. And at the end of that year, we photographed Virat and Anushka's wedding. And for me, being there amidst a group of 50 odd people or even lesser than that, I think perfect timing.
That's the picture.
Yeah. It just described what a perfect wedding would be. So in a wedding, all of us are wearing masks, metaphorical masks, right? We wear outfits, I call them costume parties, like Halloween parties, right? You get dressed and you behave a certain way in front of a bunch of people. You may or may not have invited yourself to the wedding, right? And somehow you're supposed to be celebrating the biggest moment of your lives. At this wedding, though, I saw the very opposite of that. I saw 2 people just being themselves 100%. A good house party is when you can just go and chill. And somewhere down the line, you can decide if you want to if you want to dance, you want to have a drink, do whatever you want. This was like that. And it's so few. In my entire career now, I would have seen less than 10 weddings like that. The last wedding in 2024 was Aditi and Siddharth's.
Small again.
Entirely small, people whom they can just be themselves in front of, right? There is no formality there. If you don't want to give your speech, it's fine. After you exchange a ring, you can just look at the crowd and say, okay, what do we do now? There's no planner. There is no list of events.
Great. Our time is up, but
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap this up with one last question.
Okay.
What advice would you give to the young couples who want to have the most best and perfect moment captured?
Perfect. Don't think of the pictures. The pictures are the result. They're not the process. If that makes sense. The process is your wedding. Is your wedding. Spend time with your partner. Spend time with your family. That those 72 hours of the wedding, they go by like that. Have fun. The photographer will do the job. Trust me.
Great.
Little bit.
So thank you for that, Joseph, and we're looking forward to many more beautiful moments
so much.
captured by you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for being here.